Hey, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the JMO Talk Show with yours truly, Russ Sills, right here on JMO Talk Show on YeahManRadio.com, the best in internet radio. Tonight, we have a great show in store for y'all tonight. We have the St. Thomas, Virgin Islands Democratic Senatorial candidate, Mr. Milton Potter, with us tonight. So make sure y'all share the live, tell a friend. It's politics time again in the Virgin Islands, man. So we got a lot to talk about tonight. It's all about Milton Potter. Milton Potter, good evening.
Hey, good evening, Russ.
How's everything, man?
Excellent, man.
Excellent. How's the weather down there, first of all?
The weather is good. It's hot. It's hot.
Hot.
Anytime this time of year, people start worrying about hurricane. I don't even want to mention the H word in this climate.
Well, we have to. I mean, it's something that we have to deal with every June, July, all the way down to November. So it's reality. So we just have to stay prayed up and just hope all the best for 2020. I mean, we've been taking a lot of blows for 2020. However, I think Virgin Islanders, we are very conscious and very, we're more connected people. Yeah. So we stay prayed up. We should be okay. So how's everything, man?
Good. Running a political campaign, so that's always a real. You're working harder than when you're working. You're regular 9 to 5. So.
Understood. All right. So before we get started with our questions, a Q&A with Mr. Milton Potter. First, I want to take a couple seconds to reflect on the situation that happened yesterday in St. Thomas over in the Tutu high rise. My condolences to the Ashby family and the A9 trucking family. Unfortunate situation that happened yesterday. So I just wanted to take a little quick pause, reflecting the young men that lost their life yesterday. All right, so may they rest in peace. All right, so tonight we have Mr. Milton Potter, Democratic Senatorial candidate for the St. Thomas territory in the Virgin Islands. He's running for the 34th legislature this year. The primary election is August 1st, 2020. So I understand that we got the coronavirus going on, is running rampant here in the United States, and also the coronavirus is increasing in the Virgin Islands. However, we still want to ask y'all to go ahead and do your civic duty on August 1st. Wear your mask, make sure you practice social distancing, 6 feet apart, wear your mask, and go out there and exercise your right to vote. We got a lot of issues that's going on in the Virgin Islands, and Mr. Milton Potter have put his name in the hat. So hopefully he could get to first round, which is the primary election on August 1st. So Milton Potter, for the listeners that don't know who you are, I know Potter is a big name. I'm gonna ask you, your brother, right? Your brother was the former lieutenant governor?
Yes, Osborne.
Okay, all right. So Potter is a well-known name in the Virgin Islands. However, let the listeners know who is Milton Potter.
Okay. Again, Russ, I want to thank you very much for this opportunity. I know that the JMO Talk Show is the rave on the internet radio. So I'm really honored to be given this opportunity here tonight.
Appreciate it.
I am definitely Milton Potter. I am the 7th of 8 children born to my parents, Margaret and Cecil Potter. So I come from a large family. I was originally born on the island of Tortola. But all of my formative years were really spent on St. Thomas, educated there from K through 12. I graduated from Ivani Dorican High School. I'm a Devilry to the core.
Okay.
Attended college at HBCU, Florida A&M University, Tallahassee, Florida. Had 2 degrees from FAMU. I have a master's degree in school psychology, bachelor's degree in criminology, criminal justice. First professional job was in Florida. I worked at Florida State University as a school psychologist. and counselor at the Florida State University Counseling Center. That's the university across the street. After doing that for a couple of years, home was calling me. I came back home. First job out the gate was at the University of Virgin Islands. I worked as a project counselor for the Upward Bound program. I tell people that that is the least that I've ever made in my professional career, but it was the most fun, the most rewarding experience that I've had in my professional career, working with young people, serving as a mentor and counselor, assisting them in their transition to college life. Awesome job, awesome experience. Left UVI Upward Bound to work at the Virgin Islands Legislature as Chief of Staff for Senator Oswald Potter. Did that for about 4 years before jumping to the central government executive branch, where I got a job at the Office of Collective Bargaining.
Okay.
That is the branch of government that really deals with labor relations and contract negotiations for public sector employees. So I did that for a number of years before having an opportunity to move on to a high position, which was Assistant Director at the Division of Personnel. That was my first stint there at Personnel. I did that for a number of years. I worked with Kenny Herman, Jr. was the director at the time. Kevin Rodriguez also, or he actually was the one who recruited me there to Personnel the first time. So did that for a number of years before being recruited by the Virgin Islands Port Authority. That's a significant semi-autonomous instrumentality that deals with the management and operation of the airports and seaport. So I ran the HR division for approximately 4.5 years before being recruited back to the central government and my old stamping grounds at the Division of Personnel. So I was appointed to serve in a cabinet level position as Director of Personnel. So I led that organization for approximately 4 years until the administration's term in office ended. So from there, I left a little room for my successor. But I left Personnel and moved to the Board of Education. So I applied for and was successful in obtaining that job, which is a position that I currently hold as Executive Director of the Virgin Islands Board of Education. I'm married. I got to get her in. The wife ain't gonna be too, happy if I forget that. But I'm married to Paulette Venzen Potter. I have 2 sons, Dakari and Javen. Dakari is a COVID graduated from Duquesne University just this past spring. And Javen is a rising senior in high school. In a nutshell, that is Milton Potter. That's who I am, where I am right now. A little bit about my not political, but my public service in the United States Virgin Islands.
Wow, that's a good resume, man. I was trying to grab some notes down and some of the stuff that you say, but it's so many, and that's good. That's good. I think that's what a lot of people are looking for. Resume. You know what I'm saying? That's the hottest word right now, especially around election time. Let me see your resume. What's your resume? Nowadays, well, I was trying to say nowadays, back in the days, you could, who you blow mentality was getting into public office. Now it's like we're trying to hold people accountable and ask them, well, what's your resume? Have you been, went to any extended education, which is college? You know what I'm saying? So that's good. You see that you are part of the board of, you're the executive director of the Board of Education. That correct?
Yes.
Okay, so definitely we're gonna get back to the to that itself there, because I was like, wow, okay, because I know that education in the Virgin Islands have been one of the top. They're always in the news in the Virgin Islands, so I want to talk to you about that. But we have some questions that we want to ask you throughout the show. Okay, so the first question is, okay, so you mentioned that you have the big 5, right? The big 5, which is crime, education, GRS, WAPA, and healthcare. I think those are the 5 big 5 that are hurting the Virgin Islands right now. WAPA, education, healthcare, GRS, and crime. Every election cycle, we hear candidates speak about, the topics about, what they're going to do with those big fives. Tell the listeners, what are you planning? What's your plan to help, if you get elected to the 31st legislature? How are you going to reflect on the big five in the Virgin Islands?
Well, I tell you, my campaign really, when we were deciding to run for this office, to take the plunge, and deciding what are the issues that are of paramount concern for the people of the Virgin Islands, certainly two things really came to mind. The family. It just kept resonating over and over again that it's really all about the family. And what we are seeing in our community as the breakdown of the family. We have, I think, in my opinion, an epidemic right now of absent fathers and abandoned sons that is really leading to fueling our criminal justice system, fueling the criminal justice pipeline. It is something that I think crime has been manifesting itself in a lot of different ways, but it always boils back, I think, to a breakdown, a deterioration in the family. What I really plan to do that's different, I think, is my form of governance is really focusing on a participatory style, motivating Virgin Islanders to get involved. It is not a matter of my seat when we talk about the big five and solving these problems. It's not a matter of public servant suddenly, and I know sometimes that is the approach that is left. Once you get elected to office, somehow there's a magic wand that comes right there when you're swearing in. Then they issue you a magic wand and you become an expert at all of the problems. That is not the case. So my emphasis is definitely going to be on the family first and foremost, finding strategies and ideas to strengthen the Virgin Islands families and focusing on finding meaningful, sustained solutions to the big five, those vexing issues that threaten our very survival. And the approach that's going to be different is we're bringing Virgin Islands residents into the pool, into the decision-making process. I am going to be holding the office, if God allows that to happen, of senator, but my role is to serve as a facilitator. Ultimately, not about me and my dreams and my ambition, but it's about the people of the Virgin Islands and their dreams and their ambitions and their hopes for themselves and their families and their children, their vision for the children. So I see my role as a senator as a little different than a traditional approach, where we're going to get involvement. The office is really going to be an outreach office where we don't just sit in the office and sit back and wait for people to come in, but to go out there and bring people in, to talk to our young people, to focus on some of those issues that seem to be recurring over and over again from the time you and I were, you're a lot younger than me, you and I were small. We had the issues surrounding WAPA. What I think happens is we do not have a sustained approach to resolving some of these vexing issues. And we don't have the courage to make some of the tough decisions that may not be politically correct, but that we need to make in order to lay the foundation for resolving some of those problems that just seem to be recurring over and over again.
Okay, my question to you, Milton, is I'm going to go back to the Board of Education. You said that you're currently the executive director for the Board of Education. What made you make that transition decided to leave the Board of Education to take on a job which, you know, it comes with a lot of scrutiny, you know that, being a senator in the Virgin Islands. What made you make that decision? You have to have, like, did you talk to your wife, or did you just say, you know what, I need to go and get better resources for the Virgin Islands or for education? Let me go and into the legislative department. What made you decide to do that, to make that transition?
My 21-year-old graduated, asked me, Dad, you crazy? Why you want to put yourself in that kind, just like you said, under that sort of microscope and scrutiny? The approval rating of Virgin Islands politicians is sort of low. If anybody was keeping a formal polling of, you know, it's like they have approval rating in Congress. People normally don't have great things to say about local politicians. However, politics is one of those critical things that you need quality, qualified, prepared, compassionate, and passionate persons to to take on those key positions. And in my decision-making process, my thinking was, look, we have some big problems here in our territory, and these big problems are all converging all at the same time. And that was before COVID-19 even came, and that's adding Cocoa Bay and Papayas. We have issues with WAPA. We have issues with healthcare and GERS and all of the big five issues. So we need competent, more than ever, now more than ever, we need courageous, competent leadership prepared to make the tough decisions that are necessary in order to effectuate meaningful and sustained change in the United States Virgin Islands. People who are prepared to lead, people who are prepared to lead based on decisions based on facts and data, as opposed to emotion and politics as usual, rather than sitting around criticizing or observing, looking at the painting and admiring it. I think this is a critical time in my life where I think I am most prepared to serve as a community leader. I've been in public service all my life. That's what my parents taught me. That is what it's all about. This was, I think, my opportunity while I am, in health, while I am fully prepared and engaged to get involved rather than sitting on the sideline and just observing. That is what really led me to run, and my wife gave me permission.
All right, so a tough question I'm gonna ask you. What are some of the duties of your current position, Executive Director of Board of Education? What are some of your duties, or what are some of the stuff that you do on a daily basis, or what you're expected for as an Executive Director of Board of Education? It's a follow-up question.
Okay. As Executive Director, I serve at the pleasure of the board. It's a 9-member elected board. We're responsible for establishing educational policy, approving curriculum, administering the VI scholarship program. As I mentioned, approving curriculum. We hear appeals, public education appeals come before the board. In a nutshell, that is what we do. We're a policy arm of the educational system. We interact with the Department of Education on a regular basis. We are responsible for approving and ensuring safe, quality schools for the people of the Virgin Islands, the children of the Virgin Islands, who deserve no less than that.
So my follow-up question to that question is, okay, so basically y'all have some kind of control as how the direction education, the Department of Education in the Virgin Islands go, basically, right? So my follow-up question is, I can only speak for St. Thomas, okay? I'm gonna just use St. Thomas as an example. Why is it that we have situations, you know, when it comes to the situation with CAHS, Adelita Cancran, with them merging, you know, and why to this day CAHS don't have the current buildings or the new facility, so they could have their own space, their own, you know what I'm saying, rather than sharing a junior high school with a high school. Why is it that we have that problem right now in 2020? In other words, this is a situation that we could have seen was going to happen. It took Alma Maria for Cancran to actually shut down. I know for years when I was in high school, when I was in school, public school in the Virgin Islands, you drive down to Win Aspinall, going down west, you have that kind of sour odor in that area. I never understand why we have a public school in that area with a sour smell. That's long ago. Now fast forward to 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, where Adelita Cancran was demolished, and now they had to move Cancran School to CAHS, where CAHS had to use their track facility to have Cancran's, junior high school on the premises. With that being said, they lost their accreditation. If I'm mistaken, they lost their accreditation because they don't have a working track. So my question again to you, follow up, is why is it that these are, as a board member, why is it that we're seeing things going to happen? This is something that was like in the mix of going to happen. Eventually it happened. So why is it that the board haven't reacted if they play a big role in how the Department of Education structure or how it run? And the reason why I ask you that is because Commissioner Barry Benjamin, she's been getting a lot of slack, a lot of heat from the legislature. So as a parent, as someone outside looking in, we might say, oh, it's her fault. She's the reason why education is the way it is. But we have to understand that she have a board that she have to talk to. The board is who basically kind of tell her what to do in a sense. So as executive director for Department of Education, why is it that we have this problem in education, and why is it can't be addressed and fixed in a timely manner?
Okay. Question is, I appreciate it. The Board of Education really does not function as in a supervisory role to the Department of Education. The Commissioner of Education reports directly to the Governor of the Virgin Islands. Unlike school boards in the United States, I think the Board of Education does not have some of the teeth that other school districts in the States have. We have a lot of the duties that we have, and some of my board members might not be too keen on it, but are ceremonial somewhat. So we don't have the teeth. We can't direct the Commissioner of Education to do anything per se. We have oversight over approving curriculum. We manage we give our opinion on the safety and sanitary conditions of schools. We give our opinion as to whether or not we believe the schools are in the conditions to operate. We don't have any teeth to enforce it. We advise, we provide suggestions, support, and the like. Like you, I am frustrated with the state of public education in the United States Virgin Islands. It is very distressing to me where we are. We were slammed, definitely, so you have to be fair, we were slammed with hurricanes, Irma Maria, unprecedented storms that really decimated much more educational infrastructure in the territory. I mean, that is something that nobody really fully anticipated. But you're correct too. Prior to that, our schools were in bad shape and were in need of critical repair. The Virgin Islands is eligible for millions and millions of dollars to repair its facilities. A lot of the funding is tied up to it's federal funding and the federal bureaucracy. The governor just yesterday and the commissioner yesterday or the day before yesterday advised us that they anticipate that new schools would probably be constructed somewhere in around 2024. And that's a best case scenario because the government of the Virgin Islands still has not received one dime in funding to repair public schools. That is a very distressing situation for me. And I don't want to be too long, but I believe that we are suffering from a case of low expectations in the United States Virgin Islands, in education and in other areas. But low expectation in the sense that we have been beaten down and downtrodden with our educational system for so long that now it seems to me as though our goal is to keep our head above water. Our goal isn't to strive for excellence anymore. It is to just make sure that we can keep things going, keep things afloat. That is a problem. We need to raise the standards, raise our expectations for education in the United States Virgin Islands, whether or not we're suffering from COVID-19 or we have decimated schools. You know, we still need to stand up and come up with ideas because we can't wait till 2024. We can't. And these are critical years that contact time with students, critical educational time frame that our students will not get back. So I'm very, very concerned about where we are with education, and that is one of the reasons why I decided to run for public office.
One more question about education, and we will move on to the other questions. Again, if you're just joining us on the JMO Talk Show, we have Senatorial Democratic candidate Milton Potter. He's here with us tonight. If you're on the Facebook Live, shout out to everybody on Facebook Live. Share the live. It's politics time again in the Virgin Islands. Senatorial candidate Democrat Milton Potter is here with us tonight. Last question about education, and we're going to move it right along. Federal funding plays a big major part in the Department of Education. Again, we're just speaking about education. And I'm trying to figure out if we need a board of education and still have a department where the commissioner has her superintendent, assistant, deputy commissioner, and so forth. I'm trying to figure out the roles on the board of education. So the board of education, do y'all decide on the fiscal year, like when school's gonna start, when school's gonna end, how many holidays? Do board of education, is that your role?
Well,
the reason why I'm asking is because if board of education plays the role of when schools start, if the kid's going to be coming back school with masks on, y'all set the foundation or set the bar in that role. I'm trying to figure out what part do Commissioner Barry Benjamin plays. Like you say that she reports to the commission, to the governor. So if she reports to the governor, basically she's just like the overseer that's what a commissioner is, an overseer for the governor. But I'm trying to figure out the part where the Board of Education plays. You see what I'm saying? What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to kind of bring together, is it all the Board of Education fault why the reason why we're in this situation, or is it all the current administration fault, which is Commissioner Berry and her staff? I'm trying to figure out where if you understand what I'm saying, Milton.
That's not what you're saying. My philosophy is blame is not really a solution.
Okay,
Blame is
understood.
I think the Department of Education and the Board of Education should work hand in hand to provide effective schools in the territory. Primarily, the Department of Education, Commissioner Barry Benjamin and her team, they're responsible for setting the school calendar, when it's going to begin, when it's going to end. The legislature also has a role. As a matter of fact, they just passed legislation early in the year to start school earlier and end it earlier. Of course, the Board of Education will testify and give their opinion, in those areas. We also, another big area that we are involved in is teacher certification. So we certify all of the educational professionals in the territory. They have to provide their credentials to the Board of Education so that we can determine if they're qualified, they're certified and qualified to teach in the Virgin Islands public school. But for the most part, the day-to-day operations of schools falls in the hands of the Commissioner of Education and her team of superintendents and deputies, et cetera.
Okay, all right. Just wanted to make sure how the role is. Like I said, I've been away for a long time. I don't know if, how we do things here in Georgia, state of Georgia, we do here in the Virgin Islands. All right.
One thing before you,
okay.
One thing that I think Georgia is doing well that I would like for us to do in the area of education, and that kind of coincides with some of the issues that we have now, is my niece, for example, she graduated from a virtual academy in a suburb of Georgia. And it was before COVID-19. So it's not like she just switched to this virtual learning thing because of COVID-19. From the time she entered the 9th grade, she was in a virtual academy. The
Wow.
instruction was primarily done. It was a teacher-led instruction program that you can work at your own pace and at the same time take advantage of in-school activities and clubs and the like. But they became so adept and proficient at delivering quality online instruction that it worked out well for some students.
Right.
And the scores for those kids, those students who went through that virtual academy on average were higher than the test scores. Test scores is everything. But just to say that the quality, it's an accredited program, but the quality of the instruction is, it does not have to be compromised. And that's why I'm saying we could still strive for excellence in the USVI, even while waiting to get the money to build, those brick and mortar educational institutions. So I think that is something that we ought to be looking at, having 2 virtual academies, not for the younger kids, but for the high school kids, so that would be a viable option for young people and still have a quality, rigorous, relevant curriculum. That is something that we can do. That is something that I would like to pursue once I'm elected to office.
That's a good direction, Milton, because I've seen that right now in the United States, that's the direction that they are taking in certain states, especially here in Georgia. So now I would like to see that implemented in the Virgin Islands as well. However, we know that one of the biggest problem is the Wi-Fi and making sure that every household have Wi-Fi capabilities and is strong enough, et cetera, et cetera. So it's good to implement that, but we have to fix the root, which is the Wi-Fi, the internet connection. Those are one of the biggest problems. All right, another problem that we have in the Virgin Islands, the GERS. The GERS, that's the government, what is it? Government Early Retirement System. That's what it stands for?
Government
Government Employee Retirement System. I remember back in the early 2000s, the JRS had one of the best retirement system around the world. I'm not just talking about the Caribbean, around the world. even though that we have this problem with the GRS, they didn't started in the Snyder administration, Turnbull, DeYoung, or even MAP administration. This is something that's been going on for years, even in the Farrelly administration. However, we still was, the Virgin Islands was still one of the best, had one of the best retirement system. Now, speaking to a colleague, this was back in 2010. 2010. Matter of fact, let's go back a little bit more. 2008. 2008. Yes, 2008. A colleague of mine told me, he said, in 2020, this is what he told me in 2008. Kid you not. He said, in 2020, the GRS is going to go broke. He told me this in 2008. And back then we had a conversation, you know, we was ramping and raving, man, when you talking about this and that, but he could have foresee it. I don't know how, but it's funny when you have to tell somebody, you know what, you was right. You know, the GRS supposed to be, if people don't understand, if you have one retired employee, you should have what, 4 working employees to cover that one retired employee. That's correct?
Good way, sure.
Okay, so basically we have now where we have a lot of people retiring, but we don't have enough employees to cover the retirees. That's one of the problems that the GRS have. That's just one of the problems. Another problem is that the GRS, which is the board, they have made bad investments with the retirement money, and that could collapse, that could cause a major downfall or a major problem in the GRS system. As senator, if you become a senator in the Virgin Islands, what are some of your ideas or solutions to fix this GRS problem? I was told that the governor could probably get a loan. If they could get a loan, the government could get a loan and pay off their debt and maybe kind of bridge the gap a little bit, which is, I don't believe in that, me personally, because if the governor go ahead and pay the loan, that's still not going to fix the problem that we have. You understand what I'm saying? The problem could be the board. It could be that we have, I won't say incompetent people on the board, but we have people that are making bad judgment. Mm-hmm. Mr. Potter, what are your ideas or some of your solutions for the GRS fiasco in the Virgin Islands?
An important question. We are in a very troubling situation back to the government employees retirement system. We have a multi-billion-dollar unfunded liability.
Wow.
Probably approaching 3 or more billion. The deadline, the date for the system to exhaust all of its assets, everything, liquidate all of its assets, is 2023. So 2023, come 2023, the end of 2023, the Virgin Islands government will find itself, the territory of the Virgin Islands will find itself in dire straits. I had a discussion with someone the other day who was arguing with me that that's a government problem. It's a government retiree problem. But I reminded him that the loss of revenue from the GRS would represent 25% drop in GDP, the gross domestic product, or gross territorial product, which would mean the entire territory would suffer tremendously. I think a big hit. I don't believe, and there is a lot of blame to go around with respect to the GRS. Like I mentioned to you earlier, I'm gonna save that for now. Blame isn't a solution, and the solution is so grave that all hands need to be on deck right now to begin to address the issue. I believe that we need to, and we may not, the proposal from the GRS most recently, the GRS board, was to reduce GRS benefits come 2021, January 2021, by some 42%. So what that would translate to would be approximately less than $13,000 per person on average. That is what the average, some will be getting a little less, some will be getting a little more, government retiree would receive as a result of the 42% reduction. And they're saying that that will save the system, and that would happen for some 20 years, and then the system would correct itself. But the problem and the important piece of that puzzle that's missing is what must the GERS retirees do? How will they survive in this unforgiving Virgin Islands economy when your annual salary, what you're receiving from your retiree annuity, is $13,000? When you got to pay rent and buy food and buy gas and pay WAPA, etc. Tremendous burden to place on retirees who in their golden years, who did nothing wrong themselves.
Right.
You know, promise was made to them. Look, you worked for me for 30 years and this is what I'm going to provide you. It's a defined benefit program that we're on, and the benefit that you receive is a promise, it's defined, and that's what you're entitled to receive. Now, I don't want to say that we're unique, because governments and public sector governments around the country, I think the total number that I heard, it's several $1 trillion that in terms of unfunded liabilities of the total composite number that is facing public sector pension programs around the globe. I think we have to try our best to identify some means to, on a short-term basis, extend the life of the system, and perhaps a bond issue is something, a pension bond issue is something that we have to look into. Like you mentioned, I don't know the capacity of the government or credit worthiness, if it is something that we will be able to get at a rate that is worth it, but it is something certainly that we have to take a look at. We must find new dedicated revenue streams to have an infusion of cash in the system. It's really just about the cash. Either you add cash or you reduce benefits. The Virgin Islands people, the Virgin Islands and its people, we can't survive or sustain a 42% hit. So we must try to pursue our efforts to get a pension bond, maybe a 750 million. That's a number that I think would at least extend the life of the system by 5 years, while we try to identify new dedicated revenue streams for the system. And at the same time, we need to think about converting from a defined benefit plan to a defined contribution plan, much like a 401k program.
Do you think,
where,
I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead.
Do you believe the GRS should invest in the stock market?
Well, the GRS would do, the program is designed so that you can, a part of your revenue stream will be your stock market investments. We have a top class consultant who's involved in helping the GRS make its investments in the stock market. The only problem that we have is the GRS has exhausted and liquidated all of its reserves, just paying out retirees every payday, that $23 million that every month the GRS must come up with to pay annuitants. That is what has exhausted our ability to take advantage of the stock market. So the money is gone. The bonds that we have in accounts, every cycle is being liquidated, it's being drawn down to beef up the $11 million approximately that we're receiving from the employee and the employer contribution. That's not enough to pay out what is promised. So they liquidate the funds from the accounts that should have been invested in the market. that's liquidated to enable retirees to be paid. And that's the problem that we're faced with. Come 2023, everything, all of those assets will be fully liquidated. So, now the only thing that's going to be coming in is 11% or 11.5% from the employee and a 23%, I believe that's the percentage, from the government of the Virgin Islands. And that's not enough. That $11 million will not be enough to pay out. That's going to have to be divvied up to pay out the monthly annuity checks to 8,000 plus retirees. That's where that $13,000, it's going to probably amount to something like $13,000 or less that retirees will be able to receive at the end of the day.
I have a comment from Michael Thomas. He's from the Virgin Islands that live here in Atlanta. He said that the GRS, they already had a company invested in the market. I'm assuming he's talking about the stock market. However, they had to sue them because the company was involved in some type of financial scheme. So again, it's all about checks and balances, basically. If you're going to be investing the people of the Virgin Islands money into the stock market, you have to have, in other words, if I'm going to have you, as an example, Milton Potter, as a financial advisor, I'm going to have to hire somebody to watch you to make sure that you are doing your job. You see what I'm saying? And that person going to report to me directly to let me know, hey, I see some irregular situations. I need you to pull them up, or you know what I'm saying? So it's all about accountability in these certain departments, especially when they have checks and balances, the IRB, the GRRS, etc. My question to you, go ahead.
No, the GRS, and maybe something that happened. GRS had some pretty top of the line financial advisors advising them and helping them to make their investment decisions. What the problem is, and when the ratio, and you mentioned it earlier, the ratio of active employees to retirees, when that ratio started to shrink, I think it was as high at one point as maybe 5 or 6 to 1. So the contributions could more than pay the salaries, the annuities of retirees. It could more than do it. But then people started living longer. Salaries started becoming higher. The system was suffering from politicians making decisions to add unfunded mandates, initiatives without funding them, early retirement initiatives without funding them. So that had a cumulative effect of, even though the system was making some money, they couldn't take advantage and utilize that money because they had to now start liquidating, reducing the cash that they could normally invest in the market. They had to use to start paying retirees. So that is the vicious cycle that has really been inflicted upon the GRS.
So basically, I'm not gonna put you on the spot. So basically, what I'm hearing is that the board didn't do their homework after 20 years. So they basically just had everything set up for 20 years, but at the 21st year, we will have to figure something out when we get to that, when we get closer. So this is something that should have been thought from day one. Okay, 20-year process, 40-year process, 60-year process.
Right, you're right. And your guy who mentioned that this thing is going to collapse in 2020, and he sounds like a prophet. But the GRS, to be fair to them, and I know they don't work in the government. They're private sector. Yeah, they did alert the government several occasions from way back when, from I think as early as 2010, 2008, 2009, maybe earlier, that if you don't properly fund the system, and you have to fund the system based on an actuary science, a formula that you decide what you pay based on the lifespan of retirees, the projected increases, the numbers, all of those things are a factor in determining how you're going to fund the system. And the government, the plan sponsor, really failed, I think, to properly fund the system. So the system and the board, they could take some blows, but I think a lot of the blows really, a lot
Have
of
to go to the administration, the administrations. Okay. I got. So, like you say, the blaming game is not going to fix anything, like you said earlier. Yeah. So somebody have to take the blame. Not all the board of directors. We do have to blame them for making bad decisions. However, as the governor, lieutenant governor, chief of staff, or even currently past legislatures, they should have foresee these things coming and maybe pull it up, or even say, hey, we need to rectify this here because in the next 10 to 20 years, there's going to be a problem. So based on what I'm hearing, and we have a good dialogue going on, is that what we are hearing is that every man for himself and God for us all. That's the type of mentality that we have in the Virgin Islands. Are you going to be that person, Milton Potter? Because obviously, my problem that I have personally with politics in the Virgin Islands is the more things change, the more things stay the same. We have a lot of people promising that they're going to go in and do this, do that. I understand that things don't work out overnight. Rome wasn't built overnight. It's going to take more than 2 years to get the ball rolling. You understand what I'm saying? Your first 2 years should be like your rookie season, or you should say like your first year in college. So your first year in college, you're not really focused. You partying, or you're more relaxed. After you get in that first swing, meaning that when you hit sophomore, junior now, that's when you start getting serious about life and so forth. What if Milton Potter becomes our next senator for the 34th legislature? What are your plans? What are your platforms? What are your ideas? Give us some of your ideas. I know you don't want to put everything out there so somebody could snatch it, but I want to put you on the front page. What are your plans if you become senator of the 34th legislature in the Virgin Islands?
One of the big things that I plan to do, one of the first things that I want to do is, and I've been thinking about this legislation for quite a while, the Family Redemption Act of 2021. The Family Redemption Act, just remember that I think it's going to be landmark legislation that focuses on building and reviving Virgin Islands families. I think once you have strong and healthy families, you're going to have a strong and healthy community. But it starts with the families, and I think our families are being neglected. And that is something that I really intend to do from day one, straight out the gate. I plan to reach out to the faith community, neighborhood leaders, neighborhood leadership, nonprofit organizations, millennials, youth groups, to come together to begin to formulate that initiative. It's going to be focusing on economic development issues, healthcare issues, educational issues for our young people. It's going to impact the crime situation that is overwhelming us as a territory. It is overwhelming.
Hold that thought, Milton Potter. I got to take a quick break. Hold that thought. It's 9 p.m. Listeners, I know we do the JMO talk show for 8 to 9. We're going to go over a little bit at 9 o'clock. Again, if you're just joining us, is Milton Potter. He's a senatorial Democratic candidate for the St. Thomas District in the Virgin Islands. He's running for office. We have him on the virtual, on Zoom tonight. So if you're listening to us on Facebook Live, make sure you share the live. Share the live. We're here. We're going a little bit after 9. So one moment, we're going to take a quick break.
Education will become the best. Solutions and ideas that for all the problems we face. And if it's a day, don't take skills and talent waste. We're on the verge of chaos. No time to be frivolous. So let's get serious. What they done, that's not 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 serious. What they done, that's not. We're tired of all the talk. Need someone to walk the walk. So let's get serious. What they done, let's get serious. What they done, Number 3 on your primary election ballot.
All right, we're back. It's the JMO Talk Show with yours truly, Russ Sills, right here on yemenradio.com, the best in internet radio. On the virtual live, we have Mr. Milton Potter. He's a senatorial Democratic candidate for the St. Thomas U.S. Virgin Islands District for the 34th. He's running for the 34th. That's right, the 34th legislature of the Virgin Islands. Before we got into the break, Milton Potter, he was explaining about the Family Redemption Act of 2021. So Milton, I'm gonna let you, go ahead with that. It sounds interesting. I know you was giving out your ideas. So go ahead and tell the listeners about the Family Redemption Act of 2021.
And I'm comfortable. Other senators here and implemented, all the better. So, you can feel free to steal the ideas if they choose. So it's all good. But I think that is going to be powerful landmark legislation and that I hope will begin to transform our territory, focus on our young people, give millennials a chance to embark on entrepreneurial opportunities, increase counseling and school psychologists in our schools, provide support for families. I remember one thing that I did some time ago. I worked at a family resource center where I was a counselor. There was a program called Men Terminating Violence Program, where we taught men, they weren't there voluntarily. The courts ordered them to come to this program as an option rather than going to jail. So, just think about it for domestic violence. Think about it. You have 10 men in a group. You're a facilitator. It was a female and myself, Carol Henneman, I think at one point, and Mikhail Reimer Charles. And they are there angry. They don't want to be there. They're angry against anybody associated with getting them there. And we are showing, teaching, training, role-playing of alternative conflict resolution skills, teaching them ways to function, ways to be a responsible father, communication skills and the like. I'm telling you, it was the most successful program that I've been a part of. And those men were thirsty for knowledge and information. So that is something that we need to have also to assist, support, and help our young men in our community also to bring families together, to bridge families. I grew up in a family situation that was everything to me. My family is responsible and my community is responsible for whatever success that I have. Families provide love, support, set structure and the like. So I think more than anything else, and we have a lot of things that we need to do, my emphasis is going to be on Family Redemption Act of 2021, building, repairing strong Virgin Islands families.
I think one of the biggest problems that we have in the Virgin Islands is trust. Trust. In other words, and the next topic of discussion is crime. Trust. When we see someone doing a crime, I mean, the Virgin Islands, especially St. Thomas, is only 32 square miles. I think St. John is what, 17? St. Croix is a little bit more. When you're talking about 32 square miles, you're talking about the city of Stockbridge. That's how big, or the Henry County or DeKalb County. That's how big the Virgin Islands is. That's just one county in Georgia. Not trying to downplay, but I'm just trying to give people an idea what we're dealing with. So in other words, within the Virgin Islands, which is St. Thomas, St. John, St. Croix, Water Island, our population is what, over 150,000 the most, 135, 150,000 or less. So with that being said, I'm gonna make a joke about it. You are highly to date a family member of yours. If you understand what I'm saying, we're well connected, we're very close in a community. Not saying that that's what's going on, but it's that close. Everybody know everybody, or you know somebody. So with that being said, that we should not have a big problem in the Virgin Islands where if a crime happened with the situation that happened yesterday in Tutu High Rise, although it was an isolated system because Tutu High Rise is now demolished or is in habitat, meaning that no one lives in there anymore. So it's going to be harder for someone to see something. But once you hear shots ringing out during the day, it's not in the nighttime where you don't know what bullets coming from or what direction. This is during the day. So if you're hearing bullets ricocheting or going off in the Tutu High Rise, somebody has to see some kind of vehicle either coming out of Tutu High Rise or going towards Anna's Retreat Center. Somebody had to say something where, oh, I saw a blue vehicle or blue truck or red truck coming from that direction. So at least, have some kind of, you know what I'm saying? Somebody saying something. But the situation that we have in the Virgin Islands is people don't like to speak because, again, 9 out of 10, you might be a family member of that person that is committing these crimes. And I hear that the Family Redemption Act of 2021, if you become the next senator in the Virgin Islands, I would love to see that implement in the legislature. However, that's a big task. And I would love to see how you would get that get that going, because we do have a serious problem when it comes to crime where, people don't like to speak. But if somebody sees somebody coming out of somebody's house, we're going to go out on social media and talk about that, even take pictures and video and all that stuff. But for some reason, when shots ringing out, we don't see anything. So my question to you, Mr. Potter, is crime. It don't matter who becomes governor. And I know Governor Bryan is getting a little slack on that situation. We had the same situation with Governor Mapp, Governor DeYoung, Governor Snyder, Governor Turnbull. Crime have always been a problem in the Virgin Islands. What are some of your solutions in bridging the gap in crime in the Virgin Islands?
Okay. Crime is a big problem issue for us. I don't think Virgin Islanders, they don't go out at night anymore for fear.
No more nightlife. I heard it's no more nightlife.
Life really doesn't exist. Virgin Islanders are really being held hostage by the crime situation. My mother, she rests in peace, when she was, I'd say she passed away about 5 years ago now. And when she was sick, she was at home, sick, in her bed. One evening, the middle of the night, gunshots began ringing in the area, in Hidden Valley area. And my brother was living there, living with her. She was living with my brother. So my brother called me, called the whole family. That's how we operate. Gunshots firing, mommy, shoot up the house. And when we came there, jumped in my car, ran down there. Gunshot went through one window over my mother's bed,
Wow.
out another window. Had she just gotten up, sat up, she could have easily been killed. You know,
Wow.
just a victim of a senseless crime, and everybody would be saying how tragic that, you know, a situation that was. So we're in a very difficult situation when it comes to crime in the U.S. Virgin Islands, and we have to acknowledge it. I think it is not a matter of, we've tried the issue of the strategy of strengthening the laws. We have some of the toughest crime laws, gun violence laws in the country. They could rival New York and Chicago and all of that, and still crime continues to rise. So we've tried that before. The AG will tell you we have some of the stiffest laws on the books. So that strategy has not worked. That is where my push for Family Redemption Act comes in. You have to employ some of our young people. You have to get them off the street. Idle hands is a devil workshop, my mother always said. We can't be naive. We still need cameras. We still need more police officers on the street. The police officers that we have today, we have probably 300 fewer officers today than we had some 10 years ago. You know, the population of police officers has dropped. Now, I am interested in more police officers for this reason. I think we never really gave community-oriented policing a chance. You need to have sufficient police officers so that police officers can engage neighbors, can walk the beat, talk to neighbors, not when a crime has taken place, but see Miss Sandy down there, who is a single lady. You see a bush there covering her window, and a police officer can actually come out of his car and say, Miss Sandy, I'm Officer Smith, I'm Officer Potter, and I'm Officer Sills, and we come in tomorrow to take care of this bush that's blocking your line of sight. You see, what I'm saying is that is how you develop and earn the trust of community residents, so that when something happens, they feel comfortable reaching out to you and telling you what they saw. You see, there isn't that level of trust anymore in the Virgin Islands community, and we have to build that trust back. We need to have police officers. Maybe there's a young person who had a bike and a single mother. We have a lot of single mothers. They can't put up the bike. Hey, officer such and such, we could help me with putting up the bike for little Johnny. Officers can do things like that to endear themselves to communities, walk the beat, engage people in a positive sense, not negative policing, but positive community-oriented policing. For our small community, I believe will have an impact on crime. Additionally, doing things, and this is something that I am really has always bothered me, and this is the roadside crew contracts. And I don't want to step on any toes because probably some of my friends have some of these contracts, but we need to give the contracts to clean up neighborhoods and cut the bush in neighborhoods to the community, so that young people sitting there on the side of the road, you know, just hanging out, we can get them to be business-oriented people. We give them the technical training, the technical expertise. Maybe we pair them with UVI business students to develop a business plan. So that funding that we pay to roadside crews, let's channel it to communities so that Tutu Valley will have a crew, a business, a group of young men, young people, young women too, who can get involved in dealing with their neighborhoods. Idle hands is the devil's workshop. Those are ways for us to engage young people and help them to get a sense of purpose, help build self-esteem. I think that that is a way to begin to positively impact the situation of crime. It's not just about locking them up and putting them in jail, because they will come out. 95% of criminals will come out of jail. And unfortunately, based on the criminal justice system right now, you're not coming out better citizens. You're coming out more hardened criminals who we ostracize because they don't have second chance opportunities. We ain't hiring them. Once they sign on that application, have you ever been convicted of a crime? That's it. So what happens? The same vicious cycle happens over and over again. That is my concern, and that is something that I hope to positively change, to look at the problem with a different pair of lens, you know, and perhaps background as a psychologist, as a counselor, as a human resources professional will be a positive way of shaping and you know, positively improving conditions.
What do you think about defunding the VIPD? I know that sounds kind of defunding. Like when you mean about defunding, Russ, okay. And that was the same question that I asked someone when this whole situation that we had up here in the United States with the racial injustice, you know, police officers killing Black people and so forth. I saw a couple people had signs that said defund the police. And I was trying to say, well, are you trying to eliminate police completely? They was like, nah. When they're saying defunding the police, they meaning like cut some of the funding. When they mean cut some of the funding, meaning that instead you have a police officer, right, that is trained to protect and serve, right? They go to training and they teach them how to shoot from the chest up. They don't shoot from the chest down, shoot from the chest up, right? So they are trained, right? They're also psychologically trained as well. However, they are not trained, and I hope no police officers come and attack me or what I'm about to say, but they are not trained to deal with social services issues. For example, okay, a domestic violence situation, okay, violence, they have violence. So they come in there, well, somebody's getting locked up, right? We don't train police officers to kind of ease the situation, figure out what's going on, and maybe instead of locking somebody up, if there's no physical abuse or anything, maybe try to talk to the individual so they could at least kind of say, well, do you have somebody that you could stay by tonight, or you know, kind of give them some kind of information where they could set up some kind of counseling to come to their home and talk to them. Police officers are not trained to do that. They are trained to protect and serve. They come to your house, the first thing they're saying, somebody's getting locked up. They're not going to be wasting my time. I'm not going to be coming to this house and be having to be mediator and all that stuff. Somebody's going to jail. That's what they're talking about, defunding the police, meaning if you have well-checked situations, domestic situation, have somebody specialize in that, like a counselor, a psychiatrist, somebody that's gonna ride along with the police officers that could be at least the overseer, or, you know, to see if, okay, they come to a situation, they had domestic violence. Okay, it's not a domestic violence, it's an argument, probably an argument gone bad. Now the social worker could come involved and get involved and talk. So while the police officer now could stand back and just be the overseer. You understand what I'm saying? So that's what they're talking about, defunding the police. Do you think that system, and I'm like I say, I'm just kind of getting a broad topic, a broad statement, but do you think that something like that could help in our community where it's only 30,000 people total?
It's a good question. I know that's a relevant question. It's a question of the day based on what's happening in the country today. And I've heard the concept of defund the police, and it's something that I kind of paused about when I heard it at first. And your explanation was a good one. We're not saying to just eliminate the police force in the United States, but I would say let's rethink how we use police officers. Because you're right.
Right.
Officers aren't trained to be social workers. They aren't trained to negotiate, relationships between a husband and a wife in a domestic dispute. They come to your house, somebody call 911, and they come there and they say somebody going to jail tonight because
Right.
of the laws says that this is what is going to happen, and somebody goes to jail. And I think we need to, and I still am not comfortable using the word defund. I think we need to rethink and retrain the way we use police officers in our territory.
So do you think that part could be part of your Family Redemption Act of 2021?
Absolutely, thanks for that. I can give you credit for that one.
Okay, that's what I was going to tell you that. Make sure you put this thing.
Russell's.
Yeah, man. But I mean, each one teach one. Each one teach one. I mean, I'm not looking nothing for it. I just want the betterment of my people. Point blank. Period. Because it's hard, Milton Potter. It's hard where I'm living here in the States.
Yeah.
If I had a choice, yes, I would live home. But of course, circumstances is I'm not, you're not going to pay me enough to move back home, and I got a lot invested here in the United States. However, I was born and raised. That's where my umbilical cord was buried, in the Virgin Islands. So that's one of my first love. So I always want the betterment of my people, regardless of what people think. So anything that could curve this situation that we have in the Virgin Islands, I'm for it. I'm for it. I'm for it. The Family Redemption Act, I'm gonna keep focusing on that. I like that. I like that. But like I said, it's just you with 14 other senators, and you know how it is. Just because they didn't come up with the idea, they're gonna give you a hard time. And of course, you have to align yourself with your colleagues and who's gonna support you. We understand all of that. I think politics in the Virgin Islands need to put aside the differences and deal. You're there to serve the people, not themselves, oneself. You serve the people. You understand what I'm saying? So that's just something that hopefully that, what you said with the VIPD, we could implement that in the final Family Redemption Act of 2021. All right, our last topic of discussion is 923. Shout out to everybody on Facebook Live, man. I see a lot of people. Robbie, a former police officer, he's retired and he's engaged in the topic of discussion, especially crime in the Virgin Islands. Thank you. My cousin, Linford Rapsat, he's all the way in Asia. He's in the Navy, so he's listening to us as we speak. So shout out to my cousin Tony T. Big up yourself. Maria Dow, thank you as well. Thank you for your comments. Appreciate you. Who else we got? We got a lot of people, man. Shout out to my school teacher, Miss Rogers. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate y'all as well. All right, so last discussion. Oh, and also Lynn Fleming, thank you for tuning in. Nyrone Hodge, thank you for tuning in. WAPA. I make sure I leave that for the last of discussion, because I think WAPA, that need to be defunded. Wherever defund, break up, dismantle, revamp, whatever name that you could put in front of WAPA, I'm for it. I think WAPA have been abusing the Virgin Islands. I think WAPA play a big, major role in why the Virgin Islands the way it is right now. When I say the way it is, where Mr. Potter, you're executive director, and if you're not doing your job right as a leader, your employees are the people that reports to you. They're gonna have an attitude. They're not gonna give you 100%. they're gonna come to work with all type of, or probably might not make an excuse not to come to work. That's not the situation with WAPA. WAPA's situation is too many broken promises. They're ripping the people them off. The people that pays their bills, that pays them for service. You know what I'm saying? They are abusing their authority, and the reason why people are angry, the reason why people are where it is, the attitude, and that's another thing too, that maybe that could be as well in the Family Redemption Act as well, WAPA, because I'm telling you, and I'm gonna let you give your ideas about WAPA, because that was your big five. If, like I told people, if we didn't move my mom to the States with us, I don't think my mom would have been here today. I'll be honest with you. I don't think my mom would have been here with us today. I keep saying that, and it's sad to say. And like you say, you don't want to do the blame game. However, WAPA does a bad, they have a bad way of showing their senior citizens, the elders, because think about it. You have a system that goes on and off. We don't know if we're going to have current tomorrow, over the weekend, or even now when we get off from this live. And you have elders that are sick, that need their medicine, that need power. You understand what I'm saying? And you have elders that is lacking from Alzheimer's, all type of sickness, mental sickness, that they need power. They need power to help them eat, you know, to heat up food and so forth. And you have elders that are in the darkness for hours, don't know if they're going or coming. We don't even know if they're still living. I want people to think about that, not just think about WAPA full of it, you know, the current going off, I can't go on social media. Think about the elders, man. Before we get into the discussion, the problem that we have with WAPA is money. They are moving money that we on the outside don't know about. And by God, I could probably bet my life that they are doing a lot of criminal stuff. And all it takes is just one person to break that cycle and say something. I guarantee you, a lot of things won't change, right? So money is a problem with WAPA. Another thing is now that came about in WAPA is racial discrimination, where we had a legal counsel, deputy legal counsel, the person that gives WAPA legal information, went on social media and disrespected the Black community. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? The board had an emergency meeting. They came about that they couldn't fire him. They eventually fired him because, of course, it was a lot of heat. And maybe it would have cost them now, but not down the line, they look at it that, hey, we pay you out, but we need you to go. However, these are stuff that has been going on for years. It's just that we have a racist president, and why a lot of people are exposing themselves. They're not thinking, which is good. We like them to expose themselves, because I'd rather you tell me how you feel about me rather than me shaking your hand and giving you a hug and you don't give a damn about me. So I like that. But we need, and I think that if I was if I was senator, if I was running for senator, or if I was a current senator in the Virgin Islands, my focus would have just been on WAPA. I think that a politician should devote their time, when I say their time and the energy on just one department, it would have been WAPA. I would have made sure that I would have been giving the people of the Virgin Islands every week, faithfully every week, some kind of information about WAPA and the nonsense they're doing, what needs to be done and so forth. Focus on that. So people's mindset could change, because right now people are looking for answers. They're not getting no answers from the governor. Definitely not getting no answers from the legislature. So my question to you tonight, last question, topic of discussion is WAPA. What are your solutions? What are your ideas? What are you bringing to the table if you become the 31st legislature senator in the Virgin Islands?
I really saw your passion when it comes to WAPA. I felt it, because I think it's that sort of emotion that people connect with when they think about WAPA, when they experience the constant power outage, unreliability. To add insult to injury, the issue that you referenced with the gentleman who held a prominent legal counsel position for the organization, who felt so emboldened and confident that he could make statements in a community that's 85% Black, say it and not be impacted by the community or by his employer. It is troubling to me. And it tells me that this sort of thinking isn't something that just popped up in June. It just came to your mind. It is something that you've been carrying around for some time. WAPA is a very distressing topic in that I think it is tied to a lot of things. Our economy, you have businesses that have failed because WAPA is unreliable. WAPA has damaged the appliances and equipment of stores and homes, and there really is no recourse that you have when your stove and your fridge and your computers are shot because of this constant power outages and power surges from WAPA. WAPA is, you get the feeling that they're unapologetic when you complain. And
That's it right there. That's it right there. Unapologetic.
They don't even complain about their damaged appliances anymore because they feel like there's no recourse, there's no redress. So we must address WAPA, and I use the word a lot, in a sustained and consistent manner. I think we have oversight as the legislature. I know that there are some things on paper that are good, that WAPA has informed us they're planning to do, that may improve reliability and reduce costs. They're building the replacement of the regular poles with composite poles that could sustain strong winds, the infusion of renewables on the grid, wind and solar, incorporating that onto the grid, going to smaller, more efficient propane generators. All of those things will improve the reliability of WAPA and reduce the cost. The problem is, and WAPA has funds. I think FEMA provided, I think, is approximately $600 million to WAPA to help assist with some of these major projects. And I think HUD gave another $200 million. So there are hundreds of millions of dollars that WAPA can use to do some specific things to bring some relief to the people in the territory. The problem is execution. And having an entity that has some oversight. My take, and I know some people agree and some people disagree, my take is that there needs to be more oversight by the Public Services Commission. I know that in other jurisdictions, the PSC has more oversight of some of the decision-making that the Water and Power Authority or the other public utilities make, some of their internal decisions. Right now, WAPA really does its own things. The WAPA management and board, they basically do their own thing, and they, the PSC really has no teeth to enforce anything outside of rates. PSC has jurisdiction over rates. So I want to pass legislation to improve the oversight, expand the oversight of WAPA and its board by the Public Services Commission. I think that that would help us to manage this process, this rebuilding process, which is sort of like a mystery to the people of the Virgin Islands. This is a public utility, but the communication protocol where we have a clear idea of where we are and where we're going with the funds that the federal government has pledged to WAPA. Where are we with the project? You know, here comes another, we're on the eve of another hurricane season again, you know, and a lot of the things that were destroyed that we had planned to repair from 2017 still are left undone. So the one big thing, I think I am comfortable with the plans, like I mentioned, the composite pole replacement, the burying of cables, that's another initiative that is planned to be on the way. There really are some big and significant things that for the first time in many, many decades are really on the table, and there are some resources to get them done. My thing is oversight and execution. And as the senator in the 34th legislature, WAPA is one of the entities that we will have to have a regular exchange with. And Ross, I know I don't want to appear that we are going to have this combative relationship with WAPA or anybody else, okay? Because from my experience, if you come after me with this aggression and, you know, this rah-rah, then my instinct is to defend myself and, you know, to make excuses. And then we end up getting stuck in that cycle of back and forth and the blame game. We have to, at some point, and I think with COVID-19 and everything that's happening now, this is an era of change, of us doing things differently, making better, more sensible and prudent decisions, having and forging better collaborations, collaborative relationships, so that you're comfortable laying your cards on the table when you come before me. You know, I'm going to ask you some challenging, probing questions also, but I'm not beating you up, you know, and we're not fighting each other. We're trying to find meaningful solutions to some of these vexing problems that have plagued our territory for too many decades. And these problems aren't going to fix themselves. And sometimes I think that our leadership thinks that these things are going to just fix themselves. But you have to have a sustained approach, following up, staying on things in order for some meaningful resolution to take place with WAPA and the other elements of the Big Five.
I'm glad that you said that you know, you use the word blame. We need to stop like pointing the finger and hold people, that hold each other, hold everyone accountable for why these situations happen, because everybody plays a role in that. And I must agree with that. Because if we continue pointing finger, it's still not going to fix the situation. Everybody have to hold each other accountable. And I like that you said that you're going in with that mind frame that, look, we have to work together. And I think that's one of the biggest problems in the legislature. Just my opinion now.
Yeah.
We have St. Thomas versus St. Croix versus St. Thomas. And my thing is this is that we are all one. We have one flag. We don't have a St. Thomas flag. We don't have a St. Croix flag. We don't have a St. John flag, and we don't have a Water Island flag. We have one flag. Oh, and by the way, make sure, I don't know if this is a joke, but I've seen where people are trying to change the flag in the Virgin Islands. I'm not really going to give it too much energy. I think it's a joke. I don't know. I'm not saying, but Pata, if you don't, I would say Pata, they said don't even say entertain that if and when you get into the legislature, don't even entertain that, because that is nonsense. But anyway, we're under one flag. Mm-hmm. We might have three territories: St. John, St. Thomas, St. Croix, right? However, we have to work together. Yeah. Put our differences aside. I don't care. The cushion senators have to change the mindset about, oh, St. Thomas House getting forced, St. Thomas senators have to stop this thing, or Senatorials want to be in charge because it's the bigger island. We need to stop all of that. That's high school playground talk. You know, it's enough is enough. We're going in a situation where that COVID-19, that we have to walk around with masks. That's going to be the next big thing. You're walking around with masks. It's so funny that years ago, you see somebody walking around with masks, we call it 911. We have a gentleman walking with a black mask. I don't know, he looked like trouble. Now it's like, you don't know who is who. You know what I'm saying? So we things are changing. Again, I like that you said that you want to implement virtual schooling in the Virgin Islands. That's another thing that needs to be implemented as well, because like I said, in these times, kids gonna need extra educational curricular activities, meaning that some people might say that, okay, going to school for 5 days. Some children might need a weekend, that extra weekend, so they could learn more, or, you know what I'm saying? Especially now with the COVID-19, I know a lot of kids haven't even picked up a book with this whole situation. So to get children back into that swing of things, it's going to be hard. And then you're telling them that they have to wear a mask too. So it's going to be a lot. So virtual, we have to have proper training for that. Definitely the Family Redemption Act of 2021, that's a good platform. Pata, is all about family, bringing families back into, you know, we need to, again, stop the blaming game. Family redemption, I like that. We talk about defunding the police. You know, the word defunding might sound kind of harsh. Revitalize, revamp the police department. You know, that's something that we could look into. Have social workers come out on certain cases with police officers, and of course, WAPA oversight and execute the board. You know what I'm saying? Hold the board accountable for their actions, and definitely we have to improve our power system. We have to. So Milton Potter, it was nice. I know I told you an hour, but it was well needed. It was well needed. August 1st is coming up. It's right around the corner. I'm going to give you the floor. I'm going to give you the floor to explain yourself to the Facebook Live people, and also the Zoom people out there that is on Zoom. The reason why you are asking for their vote, why you should be the next Democratic senator for the 34th legislature in the Virgin Islands.
Okay. Ross, thank you. Time went so quickly. It really went quickly, and I think that's because there's a good flow. The questions were great, and I appreciate positive feedback. I really appreciate you initially recognizing and having a moment of silence for the Ashby family. I think that was very important. That was very, very powerful. Losing a loved one, it's not anything that you ever get over. You never get over it. So my heart goes out to the Ashby family and the loss of their loved ones. But I'm asking people of the Virgin Islands and people throughout the diaspora, because we have Virgin Islanders everywhere. You mentioned Virgin Islanders in Asia, in Australia, all over the world. And you always maintain your connection with the territory, irrespective of where you are and what you're doing in other jurisdictions. VI is still always home, you know? So I appreciate all the viewers on Facebook Live, and I appreciate who are tuning into JMO radio program. I think it's an awesome program. I'm going to tune in on a regular basis. But I'm asking the people of the Virgin Islands to consider their options come November 3rd and August. I don't want to get ahead of myself. Because I have to pass that hurdle first. And it's important, and typically you have a low voter turnout for the primary, and people say, I wait until November to vote. But no, can't take anything for granted. We are asking you to come out and support candidates that you believe will work on your behalf come August 1st. I believe that I am a good option, a viable option. I think I am prepared. I have led government departments. I have handled $1 million budgets, and I come with a different pair of lens. I'm looking at the problem from a different perspective. I bring my experience as part-time professor at the University of the Virgin Islands, Board of Education, executive director, director of the Division of Personnel, director of Human Resources for the Port Authority, counselor, former president of the St. Thomas Federal Credit Union, the only locally owned financial institution on the island. These are things and experiences that I have that I think make me uniquely suited to serve at this moment in time. It is imperative that we start looking at things differently if we want to get different results. I am asking the people of the Virgin Islands to consider me as one of their candidates for a seat in the 34th legislature. It is time for us to get serious about the direction of the United States Virgin Islands, and we need serious candidates who are not going to waste time with politics and, as usual, an emotion, but we're going to look at facts and data when making decisions. I'm Milton Potter. I am number 3 on the ballot come August 1st. Thank you very much, Russ, for your time, and I really enjoyed this exchange.
Man, it was a pleasure, man, Milton Potter, man. Thank you, man. And it's so funny. I just want to share this here with the listening audience. I was up all day trying to get this Zoom thing situated. I was like, man, I came home from work, man, and I was on it from this morning, man. I got through with this whole Zoom thing. It was like 4 o'clock. I said, man, I gotta get at least some rest, get my mind right, because I was on it, man. I had my CEO, Yearman Radio, Captain Ren. He was on me. We tested out, make sure everything was working fine, man. This, like I said, this virtual whole thing, Zoom, doing meetings on Facebook, on Zoom. This is the new era. This is the new era. I know people might say, Russ, it had Skype before, and people wasn't really into Skype. It took a pandemic for us now to interact. And this is good. It's great. I like it. I just have to learn more about it. You know what I'm saying? But it was a pleasure, Milton Potter, for taking your time. I know Friday you could have been chillaxing because I know you have a long weekend campaigning, man. All the best to you, my brother, man. And hopefully in the near future, we could see each other face to face. You know, hopefully this whole thing died down. But again, be safe out there. All the best. And I think you have the right mindset. You have the passion for the Virgin Islands. Your credential is there, so nobody don't have questions about your resume, your credentials, and so forth. We just have to just do the right thing, and just hope that the people that, you know, asking for people to go out to vote are there to serve the people, not themselves. Good luck, my brother, man. Thank you. Thank you for taking time. It's 9:49. Thank y'all, man. Appreciate y'all. All right, before we go, I'm gonna just play your jingle one more time so people could. I like it, man. Shout out to Malvern Spectrum. Yeah, he did a great job with the jingle, man. I love it, man. So, all right, man. All the best to you. I know you're sweating. I see a couple of times was sweating. I said, lad, I hope I won't put him on the spot. I see you sweating. I said, lad.
You have pressure, man. You have a lot of pressure with them tough questions. Man, I really appreciate this, Russ, and we'll keep in touch.
Yeah, man, for sure. All the best.
Good night to the people.
Right, man. Take it easy. All right. All right.
Let's get serious. Education will become the best. Solutions and ideas that go all the problems we face. Don't tax skills and talent waste. We're on the verge of chaos. No time to oh, let's get serious. What they done, that's not 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 serious. What they done, that's not. We're tired of all the talk. Need someone to walk the walk. So let's get serious. What they done, that's not. Let's get serious. What they done, that's not. Number 3 on your primary election ballot.
And that was it. That was Milton Potter asking you for your vote on August 1st, the Democratic primary election that is going on in the Virgin Islands. All the best to Milton Potter. Great conversation, great dialogue, and I like some of his plans. I like some of his ideas. So all the best, Milton Potter, man. Next stop, St. Croix. You got next. So next week, Friday, we're gonna have a senatorial candidate out of St. Croix. Can't tell you who it is yet, but it's from St. Croix. So next St. Croix, you got next, man. So all my cushions, we're there. We did it. All right. So make sure y'all tune in live next week, Friday, on the JMO Talk Show with yours truly, Russ Sills. I like this whole Zoom thing, man. This Zoom thing is nice. Anyway, shout out to everybody on Facebook Live before we go, 9:52. Let me give you all a quick shout out. Maria Dow, thank you for tuning in. Kimberly Dawson, thank you for tuning in. Miss Claudina, thank you for tuning in. Tony T, appreciate you, man. Big up yourself. Milton Kana, Annalise Nawedo, thank you for tuning in. Captain Ren, thank you, man. Appreciate you. You're a lifesaver, bro. You're a lifesaver. Thank you all, man. Robbie, my brother from another mother, all the way from Ras Valley. He's a retired police officer. Thank you. Stan Phillip, thank you for tuning in. There's so much people on here. I really appreciate y'all, man, for tuning in. Thank y'all, man. Again, next week, Friday, we're gonna have a St. Croix senatorial candidate. They are running for office as well for the 34th legislature in the Virgin Islands. So make sure y'all tune in, man. Let your cushion people, we're there. Next week, Friday, all right? Thank y'all, man. Appreciate y'all, man. And I guess practice social distancing. Keep your hands sanitized, wash your hands. And if you could avoid big gatherings, please. I'm telling y'all, man, this thing is still serious. It's getting serious out here. When the virus started back in March, I would say I haven't saw COVID-19 exposure, or even someone that had coronavirus didn't came in till I say what started when this whole thing started increasing back in May. Today now, June, July, we got people that is coming in to the hospital every single day positive. Every single day positive. Please take this thing serious, this COVID-19, aka coronavirus, serious. This thing is no joke. Practice social distancing, wear your mask. I know a lot of people are fighting about wearing masks. I don't know why you're fighting. I know it's uncomfortable. Behind my ears, it's all blistered up from wearing the mask. It doesn't matter. If it's gonna save my life, I'm wearing it. But I'm just asking you all, man, just do the right thing, man. Avoid big gatherings. Wash your hands. Wash your hands. You come inside the house with bag, your work bag, your grocery bags. When you dispose those bags, take some Clorox wipe, Lysol, and wipe down your countertop. Wipe down your fridge handle. Wipe down your doorknobs. Anything that your living room suite, your couch and sofa, take some Febreze, Lysol, spray it down at the end of the night before you go sleep. Spray it down. Make sure you wash your towels them on a regular. You should be washing your towels, change your towels at least twice a week. At least twice a week. You know what I'm saying? These are stuff that we have to implement in our day-to-day basis. Some people might take it, not taking it seriously and come inside from outside and they go lay up in the bed. Nah, take those clothes off, dispose it to your laundry room. Take a shower. I don't give a damn if you took a shower 4 hours ago. Take a shower. Dispose all of that clothes. Until we get this thing under control, this is what we will have to do to avoid. Kids are getting exposed now. When this whole thing started, it was elders. The elders was dying left and right. Now you got people young as 11 years old, 5 years old are dying. So if you see how this virus, it started from the top, now it's coming down, it's coming down, it's coming down. Kids are getting exposed, kids are dying. People my age are dying. Please, please practice social distancing. Wear your mask. It's only, I mean, when you get in your car, you could take it off. Or when you go into the store, just wear your mask. I know it's uncomfortable, wear your mask. Wash your hand, always keep sanitizer around you, Lysol. If anybody know the plug for the Lysol guy or the Lysol woman, let me know, man. I need to re-up. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you have a lot of Clorox wipes. You know what I'm saying? That's all I gotta say, man. And 9:57, thank y'all for tuning in, man. Appreciate y'all, man. It was a great show. Shout out to Milton Potter. All the best to him on his show, on his vibe for the senatorial position for the 34th legislature in the Virgin Islands. Great dialogue. Thank y'all. Synchro, you got next. Peace and hair grease. One love. Thank y'all, man. See y'all later. Bye.